I think it's a dark road that we're on right now, and I wish more people would pay attention to it, and instead of being roped into the whole right left, back and forth, you know.
Yeah, 100%, and that's what they're using. I forget who said it. I think it was Saul Alinsky, where he said, "Never let a good tragedy go to waste."
Yeah.
And basically, like, double down and create legislation. Joel Ramirez brings up a great point here. He said, "John, what do you think is next? They're working on removing guns from all transgenders. The question is, if this goes through, who's next?"
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we're seeing when we talk about speech and and what hate speech is. Right. Hate speech is saying that Eric can't have a baby. That's hate speech today in America, people, when in fact it's the absolute truth. Eric cannot have a baby. He can't. I'm sorry. He cannot be impregnated. I mean, I hate to break it to you, RH, but Eric is not going to is not going to birth your child. He's not a birthing person.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
What's a woman? What's a woman, John?
We don't know. We don't know. And like, so that's considered hate speech. And I know you didn't mean it, Eric, but you slipped up a little and you said that speech isn't a God-given right. And I'm just gonna say it absolutely is, and that was like the foundational belief of it. I know you kind of mixed your words, and I know you didn't mean it, but I just want to get back onto what like free speech was put in here for that. Like the founding of the nation was religious freedom, right? So you're entitled to your beliefs, right? And if my belief may be offensive to you, right? Like and so like that's what free speech is basically is holding the line on, is your ability to believe in your God, and nobody, no government, no employer could take that away from you. So, and I agree with you, Eric, that it needs to be fought for in each generation to cap. But I think that's what we're losing, because we have a generation of children who no longer believe in God, whatever it is, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Catholic, whether you're a Jew, like whatever you are, we've all kind of, as we became more and more Americanized, we've all kind of moved further from the church, from whatever church you belong to. And I think that's also another huge factor into why we're seeing this hate, because these are things that weren't acceptable in society before. It wasn't acceptable to say horrible things and think, oh yeah, people are going to come to my business after I just cheered on the murder of an innocent man. And so like, that's what's happening, what's happening. And yeah, 100%. Like that's why I push back so hard on Mike Lawler and that other idiot from Long Island who Trump just hired doing something. I forget what his name is. He was a cop, detective turned congressman, one term, as he deserved to be, because he voted with the Democrats, just like Lawler most of the time. And when they're putting this anti-Semitism bill together, where they're saying that, oh, any claims that the Jews killed Jesus, you're an anti-Semite. So I was like, oh, congratulations, gentlemen. You just labeled the New Testament and every Catholic and Christian an anti-Semite. And what was the goal there? And yeah, the goal is to continuously restrict and remove speech and remove your God-given rights, like to own a firearm, to own all these things, because that's another vital right. And we should all be protecting his rights, whether it's for transgenders, whether it's for white nationalists, whatever the hell that means. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and our God-given rights, our constitutional rights, we should all be standing up for. And the people that swore an oath and we elected to do that should be doing that. And if they're not doing that, they should be removed. I don't care if it's an election year or not.
Spot on, brother. I want to thank you. I apologize, friends and listeners. I've been driving for a week back from Alaska. I haven't slept. I'm exhausted, but you're absolutely right. What I meant to say, and I appreciate you saying that it is a God-given right, but it's not if we don't fight for it. That's what I meant to say. Because even though it's a God-given right, which there are many things that are God-given rights, we have to fight for them. We have to fight for them because there are people that are trying to take it away. Because, like Sal Greco says, that there are just some people that are ungodly. There are people that are ungodly in this country, and they want to take those rights away for their own agenda or their own concerns. So these God-given rights, and that's why I always say I'm so impressed by our forefathers. Being a history major in college, I got a bachelor's in history. If you look at our forefathers, it's so impressive because they were young kids. They were 19, 20 years old. They were young kids back then, but they knew the weight of how these God-given rights have to be fought for because people will try to take them away. So, and while they are granted to us by God, we cannot take them for granted and realize that men have fought and died in this country for free speech. If it wasn't for the great men of World War II, we'd probably be speaking another language right now. So it's so important that we fight this battle, and that it has to constantly get there. And that's why I say with this generation, I think that while this generation, a lot of good has come out, and they're super intelligent and through social media and the internet, I think they lost that face-to-face confrontation and that real feeling for another man. And when I say that, when men meet each other, there's no doubt about it. When men meet each other, there's always some kind of peacocking, and men check each other. Men keep each other in line. And when you're having these conversations on social media and you don't have that interaction, no one's really holding each other accountable. The way people talk on social media, the way they feel about others, I believe would be different if they had more face-to-face confrontation. And I think that's why we become so, not sympathetic towards things that we see, atrocities, especially people celebrating the death and the murder of Charlie Kirk, is because they don't have those interactions anymore. So I think that's the problem. When you're young, growing up, knowing that if you said certain things it could get you punched in the face, while that may be right or wrong, it keeps you accountable and it keeps you in check. And it's figuratively speaking for life. You have to understand that things you say can get you punched in the face and hit in the gut, whether it's an actual punch in the face or it's you losing your job or being held accountable for things that you say. Now, I don't believe in hate speech. I believe all speech should be free. But when you're in a position of power and you're in a position of employment, your speech has to be professional and has to be the one that is the voice of reasoning.
Yeah, I think they lost that, and there's an argument to be made about the rise of the internet and how that corresponds with that loss of face-to-face say interaction. The rise of social media networks and that. But I think I'm going back to them losing culture and losing cultural avenues to express rebellion. And that coupled with the fact that a lot of them grew up under helicopter parenting, kind of pushed us where we are. And I think having a lack of shared culture for their generation is what's contributing to what you see happening now. Where everybody is it's not just politics; it's their culture. It's why you see the rainbow flag is like a movement. Who'd have thought of that? That's like a movement for that generation. Yeah. But this like you said, this has to be fought for, and we have to keep eyes on it as the people are trying to take it away from us. Because once it's gone, I don't think it's ever gonna come back again. And keep an eye on this, because I think this is going to be a larger conversation as we go forward, because I see a lot of things coming to a head on it, and I at this point, I just don't see how we're going to avoid having that larger conversation.
I want to talk about a theory that has been bouncing around in my head for several years now. And it's not just my theory. I'm sure other people have landed on this conclusion too. The theory is that pop culture peaked at a specific and identifiable point in our very recent past and has fallen off a cliff, perhaps irretrievably since then. And I want to discuss when this peak occurred, why it dropped, where this is all leading. I want to make the case that pop culture is now dead because the culture itself, in a very real sense, is dead. And this is not just reflexive, pessimistic doomerism. Something very real and very important is happening here, as I will explain.
You've just watched a clip from our live episode. Click the description to watch the full episode. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this.